Independence is the essence of our democracy. Until and unless every branch of democracy is not free from excess intervention from the other, a political system can't function efficiently. Looks simple, right? After all, we only have to define the domain of functioning of the branches of democracy and we are good to go. Ram Rajya is around the corner. Roads are clean, health index is high, people don't have any psychological or existential trauma, and everyone is happy. A paradise is there with a light at the end of every tunnel. Okay, let's get off our high horses and let's check the reality. The wonderland we just discussed is built on the axiomatic belief that educated individuals are always good for society. However, that is not always true. Dr. Jordan Peterson, a well-known Canadian philosopher, disagrees. Despite being highly educated, he has no qualms in accepting that intellectuals are not holier than thou. In fact, he draws a parallel with venomous snakes. According to Peterson, if an intellectual is evil, then he is like a venomous snake with 50 teeth, something which even the evilest of criminals are not capable of. You see it for yourself. Money laundering is a crime which demands intellect, but it is less punishable than murder. However, the final impact on society is larger than that of murder. It turns out people are heavily biased towards their own tribes, and so do educated ones. If given a charge of a system, they will also become a cozy club, shielding their own members from the perils of life. That is the reason why absolute judicial independence manifested as judges appointing themselves is so controversial. Namaste and welcome to TFIPost. I'm your host Piyush. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates. If you're watching us on Facebook, do like, share and subscribe to the page. Let's begin with the video report. The appointment of new Chief Justice always offers us an opportunity to look beyond immediate happenings. If used judiciously, the time lag between appointment and oath-taking can be used to sort out lingering issues in the system. Justice Chandrachud's appointment seems to be the moment for the executive to air its view on the collegium system and the changes required in it. The Law Minister Kiren Rijiju is leaving no stone unturned in reminding the judiciary of the executive's perception of the collegium system. He unequivocally says that the government should have a say in the appointment of judges. Sri Rijiju has cited the spirit of the constitution to vindicate his points. Recently, he expressed his views at Sabarmati Samvad organized by Panchjanya, a weekly magazine published by the RSS. According to Sri Rijiju, the people of the country are not happy with the collegium system. Quote, I am aware that the people of country are not happy with the collegium system of appointment of judges. If we go by the spirit of the constitution, appointing judges is the job of the government. On the occasion, Sri Rijiju also launched a scathing attack on nepotism in the judiciary and the way in which the collegium is affecting the judiciary's efficiency. Citing his experience as law minister, Kiren Rijiju observed, second thing, nowhere in the world except India is there a practice that judges appoint their brothers as judges. Third, as a law minister, I have observed that half of the time and minds of judges are preoccupied with deciding who will be the next judge. Their primary work is to give justice, which suffers due to this practice. He also shredded the common belief that judges should not be liable for their opinions. Rijiju does not seem to agree with the notion that judges' judgment should not always be taken out of context and criticized. However, he drew the line by stating that if the judge is involved in administrative work, then criticism and disagreements are part of the process. By administrative work, he mainly meant the appointment of judges through the collegium system. Speaking on the activism spreading like a virus in the legal system, Sri Rijiju appealed to honorable judges to stick to the rulebook of jotting down their words. In what seemed to be a reference to the controversial rebuking of Nupur Sharma through unwritten words, Sri Rijiju said several judges passed observations which never became part of the judgment. During my consultation with them, I have requested that they refrain from it, especially when live streaming of court proceedings is taking place. They are being judged by people. As a judge, you might not know the practical difficulties or even the financial implications of the orders you pass. Ever since the Modi government took oaths to serve 1.4 billion Indians, independence of the judiciary has been a thorny issue in power corridors. Its genesis actually lies in the emergency era. That period was the first time in the history of independent India that the credibility of the judiciary had to be checked in the witness box named People's Opinion. As credibility took a hit, so did the process of appointment of judges at Supreme Court and High Courts. Our Constitution has well laid out provisions for the appointment of Supreme Court judges. Article 124(2) of the Constitution makes it compulsory for the President to appoint Supreme Court judges, including the Chief Justice. He or she has to do it through consultation with the judges of the Supreme Court and of the High Courts in the states. In practicality, the Chief Justice of India used to recommend judges, and the President's job normally remained limited to stamping them till 1980. And then came the first judges case of 1981. In SP Gupta versus Union of India, the court said that the President can turn down the CJI's recommendation for cogent reasons. The system continued for 12 years, but by and large, presidents refrained from much interference in the process. Even that was not acceptable to the judiciary. In the second judges case of 1993, the Supreme Court held that consultation means concurrence. Basically, the court said that judiciary's opinion on the process holds more weight. The Supreme Court added that apart from CJI, two senior-most judges in the Supreme Court will also be part of the process. This gave the birth to the collegium system. 3 years later, in the third judge's case, the Supreme Court ruled that the collegium had to be a 5-member body comprised of the CJI and 4 of his senior-most colleagues. In other words, the voice of the executive was pinned to just a stamp. The only power the executive had was to take the matters to the People's Court by dissenting from the opinion. Even that would ultimately achieve nothing of substance. It is not that the government did not try to change it. The Modi government introduced the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2014. The Act of 2014 provided for the National Judicial Appointment Commission, or NJAC. It had to replace the existing collegium system. In the new system, the government took care of the basic structure of the collegium system by giving the upper hand to the judiciary through the Chief Justice as chairman and 2 senior-most judges of the Supreme Court. The 4th member of the NJAC was proposed to be the Union Law Minister who represents the judiciary. The government was also diligent enough to ensure that the people of the country also became part of the process by making way for the participation of 2 eminent citizens. To ensure that the appointment of eminent individuals takes place through a free and fair mechanism, the judiciary was given its say in the process as well. Both eminent citizens were slated to be appointed by a committee consisting of the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice of India, and the leader of the opposition in the House of the People. Even that was not enough for the judiciary. In striking down the proposed act as unconstitutional, the Supreme Court observed that the system does not provide adequate representation of the judiciary to ensure primacy in the judiciary. According to the court, it violated the basic structure of the Constitution. The judgment also reinstated the older collegium system. Continuous no by the judiciary to the executive's involvement in the appointment process clearly indicates that it does not trust the executive. Part of it is logical as well, since the general perception of politicians is that they tilt towards popular demands rather than logic. But hey, which system is free from its own confirmation bias? That is when checks and balances come to the rescue of the system. Not allowing it to be part of the system is not good for any branch of democracy.